Hello, I'm Lauren Nile, and I'd like to speak with you briefly about the incredible amount of attention that Donald Trump has gotten in the news cycle over the last several months, really. And I'd like to speak specifically to progressive newscasters, progressive news outlets. And my request is simple. It's that you please stop spending as much time on Mr. Trump and his some of the things that he says that so many of us find outrageous and at least offensive. The reason is that there are so many other important, pressing social and environmental issues on which we should be focusing that it is a precious waste of our time, I believe, to analyze and reanalyze, televise and retelevise, and just, spend so much time on what Mr. Trump is saying these days. I mean, look, consider, he basically is telling us, he's showing us really through his verbalizations what's on his inside. He couldn't come out with those things if they were not inside of him. And I'm not putting him down in any way. I believe that all of us are on our own evolutionary path, hopefully toward our divinity, toward our divine selves. So, for example, if you asked me to display in my everyday dealings with people the grace that Pope Francis is displaying on his trip here, and as he does in his life in general, though I may wish to, I could not, because I haven't spent the years in prayer that Pope Francis has spent. If you asked me to display the forgiveness that President Mandela displayed toward his jailers, I could not, because I haven't spent 27 years in a jail cell in self-reflection. If you asked me to display the compassion of Mother Teresa toward all whom I meet, though I may wish to, I probably could not, because I have not spent the years in meditation and prayer that Mother Teresa spent. So you see, the same is true for Donald Trump as it is for all of us. We are all on our path, our emotional path, our spiritual path toward greater emotional intelligence, emotional maturity, and spiritual development. And so we have to just assume that Mr. Trump is going to say the things that he's going to say. It is where he is developmentally. So just to give a few examples of the kinds of things that progressive media and other media have covered over and over again and have spent an inordinate amount of time on, here are just a few. Mr. Trump has called Rosie O'Donnell and other women fat pigs, dogs, slobs, and disgusting animals. He's disparaged Latino Americans and specifically Mexican Americans, and even more specifically Mexican refugees, or immigrants rather, saying that they are rapists in general and are drug dealers. Even though he himself received several deferments during the Vietnam War to avoid service, he was able to, and indeed did, disrespect Senator McCain's service, and even Senator McCain's time, his 5 years as a prisoner of war in Vietnam, saying that, he prefers winners, not people who get captured. He has implied that it was perhaps Megyn Kelly's hormonal level, that maybe it was her time of the month or something like that, that caused him to ask him what he believes are unfair and hard questions at the first Republican debate. He called her bimbo. He's said that the people who are running our country are stupid, that they're stupid people. He spent months during President Obama's last run for president trying to make the case that he was not an American, that he wasn't born in the United States. He said that he had a team of people on the ground in Hawaii who will reveal some very interesting things about the president's birth. He said, I have people that have been studying it and they cannot believe what they're finding. And now he refuses to talk about that and never did tell us what his team of people on the ground in Hawaii ever found. He has said regarding his Republican opponent, Carly Fiorina, look at that face. Would anyone vote for that? Can you imagine that, the face of our next president? He won't correct a questioner who said that we have a problem in this country, and it's Muslims. And then that same questioner went on to say that President Obama was a Muslim. He didn't go on to correct that person. Of course he wouldn't. He's not at that level of emotional development. And then, even more recently, when asked, why didn't you correct that questioner? He said, well, some people have said it already happened, frankly, i.e. the election of a Muslim president. Some people have said it already happened, frankly, but of course you wouldn't agree with that. Of course, Mr. Trump won't apologize for any of those things because he's not emotionally mature enough. He's not emotionally aware enough. He's not centered enough, you see. So rather than covering and recovering and televising and retelevising all of those things that he has said and will continue to say, the names that he'll continue to call people, the ways in which he'll be disrespectful toward women, toward people of color, sure, we need to know about the things that he's saying because he's running for the highest office in the land and is indeed the Republican front runner. So yes, of course, cover them. But then don't spend so much time on them. Instead, what I would suggest is that you simply make a list of them. Just keep a running list of what may be called Trumpisms, perhaps. And then when the election draws nearer, if he's still in the running, if he's still in the race, just publish the list and then talk about it to some extent. Remind people of all the things Mr. Trump has said. Just give us the list so that we can make an informed, intelligent decision about the kind of person that is running for the highest law of the land. You know, the Pope is here right now, and he has displayed such grace and graciousness. He is a person of, I think he is a person of God, if you will. Not that I agree with all of his stances or all of his positions on all social issues. I do not. But it's clear that he is the spirit of a person of God. And I truly hope that all of our politicians, including Mr. Trump, has really heard the Pope as he has talked to us over the last couple of days about what it means to be a good leader, what it means to be a great leader, because that is what our country needs, not the partisanship that currently characterizes our politics, but indeed we need the humility and we need the graciousness in our leaders that Pope Francis has talked about so eloquently on his visit here. I certainly hope that Mr. Trump has heard him. Thank you for hearing me, and I'll see you again next time. Until then, I'm Lauren Nile.